In this segment, you'll learn how to build a standard Synflex hydraulic hose assembly. Before beginning, be sure you're familiar with the operating instructions for your particular system. Always wear safety glasses, avoid jewelry, and be aware of any loose-fitting clothing when operating the machine. To build a Synflex hose assembly, you'll need Synflex hydraulic hose, the proper hose fittings for each end, a hose cutter, the appropriate pushers, and a swage die. For complete assembly instructions, including the appropriate fittings, pushers, and dies, please reference current Synflex assembly instructions. First, measure the hose to the proper length. The overall length of the hose assembly includes the hose ends. This additional length is called the cutoff factor and must be accounted for when cutting the hose. The cutoff factors for various hose ends are found in the Synflex hose assembly instructions. Use a non-abrasive cutting tool to cut the hose. Make sure the cut is both square and clean. Do not use an abrasive cutting tool, as this will contaminate the inside of the hose. Next, mark the insertion depth for the fitting using the information listed in the assembly instructions. Lubricate the inner surface of the hose with a lubricant compatible with the hose application. Push the hose into the fitting until it reaches the mark. Determine the proper swage die from the assembly instructions. Select the proper swage die by locating the part numbers on the top and the serial numbers on the bottom of the dies. Each die set is mating halves. Be sure the serial numbers are the same. Install the die into the swage machine and lock in place with the die detent pins. Lubricate the inside of the swage dies with SAE 90 lubricant. Use the assembly instructions to select the proper pusher and lock it in place. Turn the machine on and insert the hose up through the die and into the pusher, holding it there while the swage is being made. Pull the control lever to the down position, guiding the fitting into the swage die and holding it there until the pusher bottoms out against the die. When the swage is completed, push the control lever to the up position and withdraw the assembly. Inspect the hose for abnormalities such as fitting collapse or an overly wide die parting line. Then, inspect the swage diameter at two locations. First, at the die parting line, and then again at 90 degrees from the die. Average these two measurements to determine the final diameter. Finally, repeat the entire process for the other end of the hose for a dependable Synflex hydraulic hose assembly every time. For additional information or help with specific questions, refer to the current published assembly instructions or contact Eaton Technical Support.